I once read a quote that said, "Pain changes people. It makes them trust less, overthink more, and shut people out." The honesty and truth in this quote has made it stick with me ever since, and I've thought about it often in recent years. We all experience pain in our life, whether it's emotional or physical. And some pains are more accepted and recognized than others, and that's kind of where this image starts. The visual idea for this particular piece came to me one night last year after a day filled with emotional and physical pain. I'd recently found out that the follicle I was so hoping was growing into an egg was, in fact, just a large cyst, and I was completely heartbroken. Over the next couple days, that cyst grew to an abnormally large size, and then it ruptured. And the pain from it caused me to get really dizzy and nauseous. And in spite of having company over that evening, I ended up having to excuse myself to go lay down just to avoid being doubled over in pain. And while I laid there in bed trying to avoid being sick, this image popped into my head. Stark black and white scenery, a cold landscape, and a lone figure in red collapsed on the ground. For me, this image represents how very alone and isolated I've often felt as we traverse the road of infertility. Nothing I've felt or experienced has been visible, so it's not readily apparent to others that anything is wrong. And for years, no one knew about our silent struggle. Through pregnancy announcements, baby showers, family get-togethers, and just life in general, we trudged along with this secret pain. Even once people knew, it didn't get easier. In fact, in some ways, it was harder. More than once, my pain, emotional or physical, was completely written off. You're being too selfish. You're being too sensitive. Nothing's really wrong with you. So, for me, the forest represents those ever-present and looming feelings, pains, and anxieties. The red cloak is the pain, something that is so vivid to me, and the weight of which often brings me to my knees. And the snow is the sometimes cold world I wake up to face day after day. Now, I know that I'm not as alone as I sometimes feel, but that doesn't change the fact that I sometimes feel that way. And I know that this feeling, this visual representation, can relate to a lot of different things, like fibromyalgia, depression, PTSD, anxiety, trichotillomania, addiction, etc. There are a world of struggles out there that can loom over us. Things that are so hard to deal with on your own, but that aren't easily visible or understood by others. And it can make it so much harder to cope with what you're dealing with when the people around you write off your struggle, tell you you're wrong, or belittle how you feel. So today, I stand here and I acknowledge your struggle, and I tell you that I'm struggling beside you. Remember, it's okay to have days where you fall to your knees or where you struggle to get out of bed. It's okay to feel isolated. But don't forget that you're not alone. There are people out there who feel alone too, and they might even be struggling right next to you without you ever even knowing it. So even on your lowest days, try and remember that you are never as alone as you feel.